Hello, my cozy besties. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. For today's video, we're going to be making a very fall build, and that is a pumpkin patch in Palia. I do plan on posting this on home tours starting next week, so make sure to subscribe. That way you see my post once it's available to tour. I just thought it would be fun to have a little pumpkin patch in Palia, because what's better than going to a pumpkin patch, picking out a pumpkin, drinking hot chocolate, and walking around a corn maze with friends? But enough chit chat, let's get into the build. For this build, I wanted to use the gazebo. If you don't have this building, I think the Kilima Pavilion will do just fine. I just wanted an area where we can put a pumpkin shop where you can sell pumpkins or maybe some other fall decor items. And then in front of that, we're going to be placing our garden plots. I have them in groups of 2 in a grid. That way you have some walkways. I really wish we had more garden plots. I think that would make this build so much more interesting, but hey, we're using what we can, so I'm using 8 of them. If you want to use all 9, you could definitely get creative with the layout and do something a little bit different than I did. But like I said, I just wanted some areas where you can walk through without it being too complicated. After placing the plots, we're just gonna line the entire thing with the Spring Fever wood edging. And I forgot to record this, but later on, I'm gonna be planting corn and carrots. I do it kind of randomly because I don't want it to be too perfect, but if I were to do this again, I'd probably do all corn just to make it look a bit more like a corn maze, since those are mostly found at pumpkin patches. But if you take any inspo from this and you do a corn maze, tag me in your photos. I would love to see how you guys change up this design. After the garden plots, we're going to be placing some spring lights towards the back. That way it adds some depth to the build. I just want to make the space feel super cozy at night. And we're also going to add some spring lights around the garden plots just to make sure that this area is well lit. And this is basically how it should look with the plots, the lights, and the gazebo. But we're also going to add some Spring Fever arches just because I want to add a few little vignettes around the space that we can add a little bit of detail. As for the outside of the build, I wanted it to feel enclosed by trees. That way it feels like our pumpkin patch is in the middle of a forest. But I'm basically going to be adding a bunch of trees along the outside, and I'm going to be using all of them. So mature pine trees, oak trees, juniper trees. And once I'm done placing all the mature trees, I'm going to go through and add some adult versions as well as some young versions, just so then we have a little bit of variety in the space. And I really feel like this makes a space feel so cozy and so special. So this is probably one of my biggest tips when it comes to landscaping in Palia. After the trees, we're going to be going through and placing a ton of the leaf piles. One of my biggest tips with the leaf piles is just to place them randomly. Have a few piles put together, some by themselves. They also pair really well with the scattered fall leaves. So place a few piles and then add a few of the scattered leaves around that. That way it looks very realistic, very fall. And I think it just adds to the whole pumpkin patch vibe in general. At this point, the forest surrounding our pumpkin patch felt a little empty to me, so I decided to add some flowers just to make it feel a bit more dense. With the flowers, I only chose ones that kind of fit the fall color palette. So we have some yellows, some oranges, some green, and then I decided to add blue just because I felt like a pop of blue might go really well with the scenery. But now that the landscaping is officially done, for now at least, we're going to be moving on to our little pumpkin patch shop that's in the gazebo. For the main wall in the shop, we're going to be making a 5x4 rectangle made out of stone blocks. If you prefer stone panels, you could definitely do that. I just really love the pattern and texture on the stone blocks. That's why I tend to use those. After placing the stone crates, we're going to be framing the outside with 2 pillars on both sides. And we're also going to be repeating that on the back side of this wall. Next, we're going to go back to the front to make our front desk. And with this, we're going to be using a little bit of glitching, but we're taking the homestead floor cabinets and placing a soup bowl on top of it. Then you want to group select the soup bowl so you can drag that floor cabinet to the other one. And that is how you merge 2 floor cabinets. Once we're done with the desk, we're going to be making some bookshelves by placing 2 rows of 2 industrial wall shelves. And then on the back, we're doing 3 rows of 2 industrial wall shelves. And for some reason, this is when I decided I needed a break from designing the shop. So it was officially time to place some pumpkins, because you can't have a pumpkin patch without pumpkins. You guys thought I wouldn't be placing pumpkins? Nah, I have hundreds in my inventory and we're gonna use all of them. But on a real note, if you're designing a pumpkin patch, make sure to use all of them. So the stacks, the heirloom, the vine, even the jack-o'-lanterns. And then as for other items, I would use homestead stools, the ranch house veggie pot, an outhouse. That way your guests have a place to use the restroom when they come over. For lighting, the Spring Fever curved lamp, as well as the homestead standing lamp. And sprinkle a few bug plushes around the space. But honestly, anything from the homestead or ranch house line would be perfect. As for the shop, I'd add some books, maybe a few bottles so you can sell some fall-themed drinks. Items that you received from the Maji Market, barrels and pots for storage, and cozy items like the baskets, the woven basket, and the ladder. Add some plants, but change the colorway to the autumn palette. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot candles. Definitely add candles. It makes the space feel super cozy. And you can't have fall without candles. To finish up the landscaping, I decided that we needed a pathway, so I chose the round concrete paver. Here, I do it in a straight line, but off camera, I ended up adding a little bit of a wave to it just to make it feel a bit more natural, and I didn't want it too perfect. And once we're done with the path, we are officially done with this build. Comment down below a pumpkin emoji if you made it this far, but let's see the final product. This is what a bird's eye view looks like of this build. We have a gazebo that holds our pumpkin store, as well as a small little corn maze. Those are like the main highlights of this build. This is the entrance to our pumpkin patch. Like I said, I ended up switching the path to a more curved one just to make it feel a bit more organic versus the straight path. You could definitely change this to a straight path if that's what you prefer. I just thought that the curved path matched a little bit better, but at the front we have a few garden patches. That is basically our corn maze. I didn't want it too complicated, but I felt like you couldn't really have a pumpkin patch without corn. The only reason why I'm laughing is because in our community, if you haven't seen in stream, I literally only get corn from rummage piles. I don't know what kind of luck I have, but I would prefer any other item. But for some reason, the past 3 weeks, I've only gotten corn from the Kilima rummage pile. So I guess if you want to see me lose my mind due to only getting corn, I do stream over on Twitch. It's just at MeFaPuff on Twitch. But let's get back to the tour. I don't have too much going on in this front area just because I wanted the highlight to be the pumpkin store along with our fall garden. But if I were to do this again, I'd probably add a pumpkin carving station, maybe a little area where people can order drinks and food items. In the gazebo, we have this little fall pumpkin shop where you can purchase pumpkins, books, fall items like fall drinks and candles. But towards the front, that is where you can purchase your items. And in the back, we have a little storage area that holds backup items if anything gets sold out. The shop is well stocked, ready for all the customers that are gonna come by this pumpkin patch. And it's actually my favorite view from this entire build. There's just something from looking from the store into the pumpkin patch that I just love so much. It's all the oranges, all the pumpkins. I'm here for the vibe. And then around the gazebo, I don't have too much. It's really just a walkway to view more pumpkins. That way you can fully decide which one you want to buy. Because that's like the best part about a pumpkin patch, is picking out the most perfect pumpkin for you to carve. And we have an outhouse. So guys, I'm well prepared for all the visitors we're going to be having. But that is it for the build. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. This was definitely a really fun build to create, and I hope you guys enjoy. If you do recreate this, I would truly love to see how you end up changing some of it or just adding your own personal touch. That's one of my favorite parts of making these build videos for you guys. I love seeing how you get inspired and how you add your own little creativity to it. If you do like a live setting, I do stream over on Twitch. It's just at MeFaPuff on Twitch, which that would be linked down below with all my other socials. And while you're down there, it would mean so much to me if you like, commented, and subscribed. It helps me grow the channel. We play a lot of Palia over here, as well as other cozy games like Tiny Glade. And I would just love to have you guys. But thank you so much for today. I will be back next week with another Palia video. And until then, make sure to stay safe, drink water, eat food, take care of yourself. And I hope to see you guys soon. Bye, everybody.